Hey everyone, Pastor Swice here with a bit of an update about Christmas during a COVID pandemic. Many of you will have followed the news reports about the unfolding and growing COVID crisis in Nova Scotia, and you will probably be aware of the press conference held by our Premier Houston and Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Strang. The restrictions they announced obviously have a huge impact on the way we do church at Emmanuel. So the elders met last evening, Tuesday evening, to discuss how to keep the church family safe from the coronavirus while at the same time doing our very best to fulfill our collective calling, which has been placed on us by God himself, of course. This has led us to make the very difficult decision to suspend in-person worship services and small group meetings here at the church building until at least January the 12th. We will go back to pre-recording our services and streaming those at the appropriate times. Keep an eye on our website, keep an eye on our social media channels for more information regarding where to exactly find these videos that will come available in the days ahead. Now, as disappointing as all of this is, I want to remind you of a big lesson that the pandemic has taught us as a church fellowship. We have learned through this pandemic that our primary task is not running services. Our primary task is to glorify God wherever we are and to make disciples. To make disciples. And we've learned that this making disciples primarily takes place actually outside of worship services. It happens in small groups, and many of those small groups, though they are now on a Christmas break, but they do continue to meet online, and they will again in the new year. So we can still do that. This making disciples happens through our ongoing conversations with each other. And that too can continue to happen over the phone, through email, text, video calls. We can get creative with that. This making disciples happens through spending time alone with God, and we're going to have plenty of time for that in the weeks ahead. And it happens through caring for each other. And there are plenty of creative ways that we can continue to do that as well. So church, the elders know, and I personally recognize that this update and this development is upsetting, it's troubling, it's frustrating, and it's certainly disappointing. Especially this time of year, as this will affect how we celebrate Christmas as a church. This will affect Friday evening's Christmas Eve candlelight service. But it's not the end of the world. With God's help, we can and we will weather this storm. This is the things about storms. They do come to an end. They always end in one way or another. And each of us can play a part in reaching out, especially to those who are without internet or really without any connections over the Christmas season. We just got to be creative in how we do that. So allow me to challenge you to be intentional in the hours and days ahead about listening to that still small voice in order to discern who you can reach out to, who God wants you to contact. Friends, brothers and sisters, we do find ourselves in the middle of a storm, but our God is firmly seated on his throne, and nothing is ever going to change that. So stay tuned for more information about these services. We will make that available in the days ahead. And Merry Christmas.